All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're exploring a truly fascinating approach to helping hesitant kids build self-esteem. Now, if you've ever watched a child freeze up at the edge of a playground or, hide behind your leg at a busy family gathering, you already know how incredibly tough it can be for a shy kid to jump into new activities. We all want to see our kids absolutely thrive and step into their own confidence, but figuring out the best environment to actually make that happen? Well, that can be super tricky. So we're going to look at how we can help these children build genuine confidence, one steady step at a time, through something you might not immediately expect: ballroom dance.
So, what do you think is the absolute hardest part of starting a new activity for a shy child? You'd probably assume it's the physical learning curve, right? Figuring out the coordination, getting the footwork down, or just remembering the rules. But honestly, for a lot of kids, that isn't it at all. The real hurdle, the thing that literally stops them in their tracks, is that terrifying realization that they have to interact with a room full of strangers. It's the social element that acts as a giant brick wall.
To understand how we can help, we're going to map out this whole journey. We'll start with the shy child's hurdle, look at why partner dancing is so effective, how to pick a supportive program, building confidence through repeatable wins, and finally, some actionable tips for families.
Okay, let's jump straight into part 1, the shy child's hurdle.
It makes total sense when you think about it. For a child who's naturally hesitant, the footwork just isn't the main issue, it's the peers. It is completely 100% normal for a shy kid to absolutely freeze up when faced with the social pressure of a new group. Imagine throwing them into a room full of loud, boisterous kids. Their central nervous system essentially just short circuits. They aren't worried about whether their toes are pointed right. They're completely overwhelmed by the social unpredictability of the room itself.
Which brings us to part 2, why partner dancing actually works. Families and instructors are increasingly turning to ballroom dance as a highly structured solution to this exact problem of social panic. Think about the stark contrast here. Your standard free-form group game, like a chaotic round of dodgeball, which, let's be real, is stressful enough for a lot of adults, is highly unpredictable. There are no clear roles, and the uncertainty is through the roof. For an anxious kid, that's practically a nightmare. But then you have ballroom routines, crystal clear expectations. You know exactly where to stand, you know exactly when to move, and how to follow your partner's cues. That rigid structure drastically cuts down the uncertainty, creating a psychological safety net so kids actually feel secure enough to try again, even if they stumble.
We call this the partner advantage because the social interaction is basically baked right into a repeated pattern of steps. Kids can focus purely on the technique instead of sitting there feeling self-conscious. It's a shared experience with a comfortable, predictable back-and-forth rhythm. Plus, in most classes, the roles rotate. This completely takes the pressure off because a child doesn't have to lead every single time, or worse, stand up and perform all by themselves. The socialization happens almost secretly, disguised right beneath the mechanics of the dance.
Let's keep moving to part 3, choosing a supportive program.
Now, you can't just drop a shy kid into any random dance studio and expect magic to happen. Not all programs are created equal. You really want to look for an instructor who prioritizes patience, lots of positive reinforcement, and consent-based pairings. You also want to see gentle partner warm-up activities that ease kids into the session and an environment where temporary breaks are totally allowed. On the flip side, avoid high-pressure evaluations like the plague. Watch out for forced, sudden group immersion, strict, unchangeable roles, and worst of all, an environment where there is no escape for an overwhelmed kid. The culture of the room has to be one that treats mistakes as progress, not as a reason to feel embarrassed.
All right, on to part 4, confidence through repeatable wins.
True, deep-rooted confidence doesn't magically appear after one massive, stressful recital. It builds slowly, piece by piece, through repeatable wins. We're talking about small, achievable successes within a routine. It's simply remembering a basic step. It's making eye contact with a peer without freezing up. It's successfully getting through a short sequence with a partner. In really great programs, kids track their progress through these micro-victories, like earning badges or doing informal show-and-shares, rather than enduring terrifying public evaluations.
And here is why this matters so much, the big takeaway. These skills don't just stay in the dance studio. The social skills they learn on the floor naturally carry over into playground interactions, school projects, and even those chaotic family gatherings we mentioned earlier. By repeatedly practicing timing, attention, and turn-taking in a super supportive setting, children are literally rewiring how they approach social connection. They start seeing interactions as manageable routines rather than unpredictable threats. And that newfound comfort, it naturally transfers to their everyday lives.
Finally, let's wrap up with part 5,
actionable tips for families.
Okay, so how do you support this at home? Before you even leave for that first class, following 3 simple steps can drastically reduce your kids' anxiety. Step 1. Arrive early. Give them time to physically and mentally settle into the space before it gets swamped with people. Step 2. Identify the teacher's help point. Point out the instructor and explain exactly how they will guide the class, turning the authority figure into a source of safety. And Step 3. Encourage a try-one-thing mindset. Keep your expectations remarkably realistic. This completely removes the pressure of having to be good right out of the gate.
The language you use at home is absolutely crucial too. Try to lean on neutral phrases to reframe the whole activity. Instead of using high-pressure words like performing, just say, "We are practicing steps." Instead of only praising a flawless dance, celebrate the effort by saying, "You stayed with the routine." After class, definitely don't ask, "How did you do?" Try asking, "What step felt easiest?" And during the week, keep it super light. "Hey, let's practice one short move." By using this neutral language, you're framing the activity as a safe, low-stakes practice rather than a scary performance.
And after class is over, a quick, brief reflection really helps your child internalize their success. Try suggesting a tiny, super manageable goal for their next session. Make it incredibly attainable, something like just learning one new turn, or simply partnering calmly for an extra pattern. Giving them a bite-sized goal sets a positive target for next week, and it gives them something highly specific to focus all that nervous energy on.
Which brings us to a really wonderful quote from our source material today. Partner dance can be a safe training ground for courage. By replacing unpredictable chaos with highly structured routines, partner dance doesn't just teach footwork. It provides the exact framework a shy child needs to finally step out of their shell, feel socially secure, and actually thrive. And it leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to think about. If we can structure social interaction to be this predictable and safe inside a dance studio, where else in our daily lives could we apply this exact same framework to help hesitant kids find their courage? Thanks so much for exploring this with me today, and I can't wait to dive into the next explainer with you soon.